Welcome back to Together at GRCC. For a lot of students, college isn't just about classes or schedules, it's about whether they can actually afford to stay. And behind every decision to enroll, persist, or step away, there's usually a financial story that doesn't always get told out loud. Today's guest has spent nearly 2 decades working in that space, helping students navigate one of the most complex and high-stakes parts of their college experience. From working directly with students to now leading financial aid efforts at Grand Rapids Community College, she brings both expertise and perspective to work that impacts students every single day. Today, we're talking to Crystal Morris. Well, hi, Crystal. Welcome to Together at GRCC.
Hi, thank you.
So before all your titles, what was your relationship with college like? Did it feel a little bit clear or confusing?
I'd have to say it was probably very confusing. I don't actually remember a time that anyone in the financial aid office at the college I attended ever spoke to me.
Okay.
There were just long lines. Now, mind you, that was a lot of paper. We didn't have access like we do now to complete things online.
Yeah.
So it was very confusing, and I think I borrowed loans one time, didn't even realize it because I didn't know and they weren't real clear in their instructions.
Okay. What did you go to school for?
Business administration.
Okay. Yeah, it's always interesting talking to different financial aid directors because you'll talk to someone and they'll be like, oh, I went to school for philosophy or I went to school for, and I'm like, okay, how does this align? But you see their life path and how they got there eventually.
Yeah.
So again, financial aid isn't usually what people say they want to do when they grow up. So what pulled you into it and what made you stay in it?
That's funny because what pulled me into it was the need for a job.
Okay.
And I had a friend and he said, no, we're hiring. Come on down and apply. And I did, and I got the job. And it just kind of went from there. I understand the regulations. I understand the rules, the calculations, and the processes. So I just liked it. So
it was a natural fit for you.
Yeah, I feel like it, yeah.
Yeah, nice. When students come to financial aid, what do you think they're feeling, but maybe they're not saying, or a combination of both maybe?
I think they feel confused and incredibly stressed out because I think they make financial aid more complicated than it needs to be.
Okay.
You know, we deal with your traditional students right out of high school, and then we deal with non-traditional students, older people that are coming back later. And I think for the older generation, it's harder and it's more confusing. And they're just like, some people are afraid to put their information on the documents we need.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to qualify for anything. And, you know, I always encourage people, fill it out anyway, because you don't know until you do. So, but I do think confusion, and they're just scared. A lot of people are just scared. It's, on my side, financial aid is complicated, but for the student, I don't feel like it really is. You fill out your free application for federal student aid. We review it. Sometimes we ask for some documents and you get awarded.
Yeah.
That's the simple path.
Yeah. What's a misconception students have about financial aid that you wish you could clear up for everyone all at once?
I think a lot of people think that all financial aid is free.
Okay.
They don't have to pay it back, and that is not true. The Pell Grant, of course, is free money. I say free money. You should not have to pay it back. There are times that we have to return funds, and then you may have to pay it back. But like, the loans are loans, and you have to pay back those loans. And I think students don't always understand that it's a loan. So I try to make sure that myself and my staff are very clear that this is a loan and you will have to pay it back.
Yeah, that definitely something that you would want to know before you jumped into it, or after you're like, oh, wait a second, that was not what I intended.
It gets confusing, and being a community college, usually loans aren't necessary, especially with the amount of state aid we get. And I certainly don't encourage loans. I try to encourage students not to take out loans if they don't need them.
Yeah, especially if they're going to transfer to another institution and the cost of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's happening behind the scenes that most people don't realize?
Behind the scenes, staff is reviewing double checking. Some of the awarding is automatic. It automatically awards. We run systems overnight. But there's a lot of things that we have to check. We have to make sure that things are matched up. Are they getting the right amount? How many credits are they enrolled in? Are they meeting satisfactory academic progress? Do we have all the documents we requested? There's a lot that goes on in the background. Oh, wait, they changed that rule. We've got to fix this. As the new regulations come out and changes come out, there's system updates that have to be done before we can even award for the next year when they say that it's time. We're starting to get the FAFSAs in for 26, 27, but we have some systems updates that we need to do so that the system can read the FAFSA that comes in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes on in the background. There's a lot of checking and updating and just making sure that everything's accurate.
Yeah, it seems like a position where you have to be very flexible because the changes, they always say change is constant, but I feel like change is definitely constant in financial aid.
Absolutely. So they made some changes again this year, and we're trying to adjust to that. Most of the time when they make a change, it doesn't start until the beginning of the next academic year.
Okay.
Or award year, and that starts July 1. So our years go July 1 to June 30th. So I make comments like next year, and I'm talking about fall.
Okay.
I think somebody will ask me
You're
a
like,
question.
I run on a different year than you do.
I do, because I'm like, oh, next year we'll do that. And my husband will be like, I don't want to wait till next year. I'm like, fall? He's like, oh, that next year. Okay. But that's the year I run on.
Yeah.
So when I say
sense.
next year, I'm probably talking about September, October.
I love that. You worked in a lot of different types of institutions. What have those experiences taught you about what students need, regardless of where they are?
Understanding. They need people to listen to them, and they need things explained. They need us to explain things in a way that they're going to understand it. So the way I explain it to a student is not going to be the same way I'm going to explain it to someone else in financial aid. And I think it's really important that we don't use our acronyms and our high level of talk. It's like talking to the doctor.
Yeah.
Almost.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that there are times that I talk over people's heads. I don't mean to. I really don't. I guess I've been doing it so long. I just think everybody understands what I'm talking about.
Hard to not internalize the language.
And they don't. So, but I just think it's all the students, wherever I've been, they need understanding. And they need things explained in a way that they can understand it. And if they need you to explain it 10 different ways, you just calmly and patiently explain it 10 different ways till they understand.
Yeah.
They just want to be heard most of the time.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Listening and making sure that you're actually understanding what the problem is has to be a huge part of it. Yeah. What changes when you go on from helping individual students to leading an entire financial aid operation?
Well, when you're helping an individual student, it's just their file. And I'm concerned with just that file. Do I have what I need? Explaining it to them, letting them know what their award is. But when it's the entire financial aid operation, we have 12,000 students plus here. And I'm looking at all of those. And even though each individual file is different, everybody's file is different, you're still going to process everything the same. So we have these systems in place that do all this bulk awarding and automated reviewing of this, and then we go in and check stuff. And I think when you go from an individual to the whole operation, it's not the individual students, it's the total amount. How many? Yeah. So it's not as personal when you.
Yeah, and you're looking at the larger systems and probably connecting with your individual employees to make sure everything is coordinated in a very complex system. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
What's at risk for a student if financial aid doesn't go right?
They could possibly not be able to attend. If financial aid is their only way that they're going to be able to pay for tuition and fees and books, it causes them a lot of stress. And I try really hard to avoid that. It doesn't always work out the way I want it to. And then if the student doesn't complete certain things, that puts their financial aid at risk, which then puts the student at risk. So if they're not meeting satisfactory academic progress, which is a 2.0 and a 67% completion rate of the classes they've attempted and earned, they could potentially lose their financial aid.
Okay.
They can submit an appeal, but that's a risk. Another risk is if they withdraw from all their classes. That's a problem because the Department of Education requires that we do what is called a return to Title IV funds.
Okay.
And we have to calculate how much tuition they earned and how much aid they earned. And if it's at 50%, we have to send money back. And then if that student has had a refund or the bill was paid and we've had to send money back, they now have a bill.
Okay.
And they have a balance that they have to pay the school. So those are different risks that the student has. There's not a lot of them. Most of the students do really well. And that's one thing that I wish I could educate more students on and explain to them so that they could avoid any pitfalls. Another thing is do your financial aid in plenty of time so that if for whatever reason we have a process called verification, sometimes we select a student based on conflicting information on the FAFSA information.
Okay.
Or the Department of Ed just randomly selects students. And we need documentation. And if they haven't done their financial aid in enough time before classes start, they may not get the documents in. The financial aid may not be there, and then their enrollment can be canceled if there's not a payment plan in place or we don't have financial aid funds to cover.
Okay.
I think probably the most important thing a student needs to know, check your email, read it.
Yeah. All right. I'm on board with you there because I run the CRM. So
Please just read the email.
Yeah. So if someone at GRCC wants to better support students around financial stress, what's one small thing they could start doing?
Send them to the financial aid office. I don't think it's a good idea for other departments to try to answer financial aid questions because of the changes that we have. And there's so many changes here lately that if a student asks someone a financial aid question and you're not in financial aid, please have them contact us so that we can answer them properly. I know at a large institution like this, there's people that are working in other areas that used to be in financial aid. I can promise you that a lot of things have changed since they were in financial aid, and they give out advice, and that's not good. If you don't know, send them to us, or if you're not sure, please send them to us so that we can answer it. And maybe just tell them, don't be afraid of financial aid. We're not mean. We're actually really nice.
I know it seems like, because I worked in enrollment and I worked next to financial aid, and it felt like I was always giving people good news. And whoever was, like, the people that were sitting next to me were often giving bad news. And I always felt like it's part of the job, it feels like. Mm-hmm. And it's, making sure that the student has the best way to handle it. Like if they're on academic probation, then that changes.
That can change a lot of things. They get a warning for satisfactory academic progress. They get a warning, but can we keep them from the warning? And that's why if somebody will sit still long enough, I'm going to make sure they know about it, because that's one of the biggest things that causes a barrier for the students.
Yeah.
Or if they fully withdraw from a class, can you make it through? What's going on? Like, I like to talk to students that want to withdraw, because if we can keep them from withdrawing, it could potentially keep them from having a balance, which is going to create a barrier for them to come back for the next semester.
That's great that you're looking out for that type of thing, because it is another thing that helps student success. And financial barriers has to be number one on top of the list.
I'm going to add to one of the other questions. What I would want everybody to know is academic probation is not the same as satisfactory academic progress.
Okay.
Academic probation is on the faculty side, on the classes.
Okay.
And you can not be meeting academic probation and just be on satisfactory academic progress warning.
Okay.
You haven't lost your financial aid at that point, but that's, to me, is a red flag that we need to make sure you complete your classes and you complete them well so that you can get your grades back up and not lose your financial aid.
Yeah.
So, but they're two different.
That's a great connection. I'm glad you cleared that up. Thank you. After all these years, what still matters to you the most in the work?
Oh, definitely. I know it's cliche, but definitely the students and helping them navigate financial aid. I believe that knowledge is power. And the more financial aid information that I can give to the students on how the process works and what's going on and what affects what, the more knowledge they'll have and the better choices they'll make, which I think will also help with keeping students in class and graduating.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about it's the number one barrier, but you're also providing the access.
Right.
Like, if you don't have the money, you can't go, but that's the beauty of the office, is that it does help people that maybe weren't able to go before. Now they're able to get a college education and improve their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michigan has so many incredible state aid programs that it's not always about federal aid.
Yeah.
There's so many state aid programs. However, with a lot of the state aid programs, you have to have completed your free application for federal student aid.
I think it all starts there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it's best to just do it whether you think you qualify for anything or not.
I think even scholarships, I don't think can you apply for scholarships without?
There are some scholarships that don't require it, but it's just best to have it because then it just gives you more access to more aid.
Yeah. And the earlier, the better.
Exactly.
What are some things that you do for fun?
I like to garden.
Okay.
I like camping. Probably my most favorite thing is canning food.
Okay. I was going to ask if you're really into gardening.
I love to can. When we moved here from Montana, we moved over 600 jars of food.
Oh my gosh.
And a lot of them were from the vegetables I grew in my garden.
Yeah.
Like we had 200 pounds of tomatoes or something crazy like that.
Okay.
I either did diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, salsa, anything you could do with tomato, I canned it. I also canned like whole meals.
Okay.
Like you could go in my basement and just grab a jar of beef stew.
Oh, nice.
And it's all homemade. And
that is amazing.
Yeah, and it's still fresh.
Yeah.
There's just something about when you can it and you take it out and it's sitting on the counter cooling and the lids are pinging and the color. I love to can.
That's amazing.
And I always have food.
It has to feel pretty incredible even when you're done, because you have something to show for it and something that's going to last you.
And I always have food. I mean, like, if somebody called and said, hey, we need a dessert, I'm like, okay. And I'll go downstairs and get one of my pie fillings and I maybe make apple pie or cherry or peach. And I just go downstairs and I don't have to cut up the apples and do all this other stuff. It's done. I just got to throw it in a pie crust.
So about how big is your garden?
I haven't started one this year.
Okay.
We just bought a house, so I haven't started anything yet this year, and I don't know how big it's going to be. But I know where all the farm stands are, and I know where to buy any vegetables I need so that I can can.
Yeah.
I don't need a lot. We still have a lot. But
yeah, I love farm stands.
Oh, so do I. They're the best.
Yeah.
I love apples is my thing. I love apples. And so I was like super excited when we moved here with all the apple orchards around.
Yeah.
And you could just go to them and you can either pick them or you can buy them off the shelf. And they have donuts. It's great.
I think that's why some people like the orchards the most, is because they have really good donuts.
Yeah. Like I may or may not have had a whole dozen donuts for dinner, my husband and I. Like that was dinner. It was great.
So is there anything else you would like to add before we take off?
Make sure you do your FAFSA early. They open October 1st every year. Get them done right away.
Nice. Thank you for joining us. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.